Hi everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing another update on the Haakaa. I've had a lot of people asking questions about the Haakaa and if I'm still using it and just all these different questions about the Haakaa and how to use it and different things. So I'm going to go ahead and do kind of like a little Q&A, frequently asked questions kind of video that I've been getting about the Haakaa, as well as I'm going to go ahead and use the Haakaa and show you how it is still working for me. I did just feed my daughter a little while ago, so she's kind of cluster feeding right now. So if I don't get as much in the Haakaa this time around, it's because I literally just fed her like an hour and a half ago. She is almost 9 weeks old. So this is kind of how it's been going for us, and I'll go ahead and give you the update. So I will go ahead and use it and give you guys the updates and answer some questions. All right guys, so here is my little girl. We've got the hiccups. Actually, you're not quite little anymore, are you? No. Say hi. Say hi. Can you smile? Can you smile? She's like, no. Feed me, Mom. Feed me. All right, so this is Everly. This is my Haakaa that I have, and sorry, you are resting on her bounce chair right now, so if it gets a little bouncy, that's why. This is the name brand Haakaa, and then I have a Medela nipple shield. I just have the name brand Haakaa out because that's the same one I think I used in my video, so I was going to use the exact same one. My off-brand one that I have is in my diaper bag over here, and I just threw one in there. I didn't like look at them when I threw one in. I just picked one up and threw it in my diaper bag. So that one is in the diaper bag. One of the questions I've been asked a lot is if I notice a difference between the name brand and the off-brand, and honestly I really don't, so it's up to you. They're pretty much priced the same anyways. I know we're so hungry. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and use this. I'm gonna do the exact same thing I did in my other video, and I'm using the nipple shield. She doesn't really need it anymore. I have inverted nipples, so it's really hard for her to latch on, and she can latch now without it, but for the sake of this video and both of our sanity, we are going to use the nipple shield for today. So we're gonna go ahead and eat. You ready to eat? She's like, I am so ready to eat. We're gonna go ahead and eat, and I will show you guys what happens. And like I said, I just fed her a little while ago. She's kind of cluster feeding right now. I think we're having a growth spurt. Yeah, we are. So I don't know how much I'm going to get in the Haakaa this time, but I'm still going to use it and show you guys. Alrighty, so we are currently in the process of eating. I'm not sure if anything's coming out into the Haakaa yet. Yep, stuff's already coming out into the Haakaa. So some of the questions that I have been asked is about the pricing. So the pricing seems to be pretty much the same. And like I said, I don't really notice a difference between one or the other. They both seem to work the same for me. I don't have like an issue with them being like too big or too small or being different sizes. This poor thing and her hiccups. They seem to be pretty much the same size, pretty much identical, the same thickness. Like there's really not that much different. I get a lot of questions about how to properly suction the Haakaa. I've had people mention to me that it falls off or that it seems to hurt or it doesn't fit right, and there really is a correct way to use the Haakaa to actually put it on you. So the easiest way to do this, to describe it with you, is to use a balloon. So you basically want to squeeze the Haakaa and flip the little flange or like the funnel part down towards the bottom of the Haakaa. And as you're squeezing the Haakaa, put it over your nipple, and you want to make sure that it's centered. You don't want it to be touching the edges or anything like that, which can be difficult if you're, if you are built kind of funky like I am. Well, I'll go ahead and leave it attached even if she is not eating. That way you can see that even though she's not eating anymore, it is still working. Right now, there's probably about an ounce in there right now. I've had some questions about it hurting or being irritating, and I don't find that it hurts at all. I do experience pain when I am actually breastfeeding and when I am pumping. I know a lot of times people say that it shouldn't hurt or you're doing something wrong if it hurts, and just with my anatomy, it does hurt me, and that's fine. It's been that way for all 3 of my kids, and I mean, it works. It just doesn't feel super fantastic, and for some people, that's normal. Even though they tell you that things shouldn't hurt, sometimes it just does. And if you do find that it hurts, you might want to seek the help of a lactation consultant just to see if there's anything that you can do to help yourself out. I've gotten a couple questions about supply and if I use the Haakaa, will that cause an issue with my baby's feeding? So for example, I've had questions about using the Haakaa just to relieve some pressure. So say you wake up in the middle of the night, your baby's not ready to eat, but you're really hurting and you know that you need to get something out. Maybe try using the Haakaa to just get out an ounce or two without using an electric pump. That will wake everybody up. And that way you relieve enough pressure that you can go back to sleep. You okay there? Oh my goodness. So the answer to this question really depends on the person, I think. For me, I have been using the Haakaa since the beginning, since day one, and I've created a pretty decent oversupply to the point where if I have the Haakaa on one side and she's eating from the other side, that it's not affecting how much she's getting. So for example, she can feed off of one side only, and whatever I get from the Haakaa is just something that's going to go into storage or that she can eat later, something like that. It's not, she's not one of those babies that has to feed off of both sides to be full. She gets enough from one side. If you are not getting a big enough supply and you use the Haakaa and then you can't rebuild that supply by the time that your baby eats, then it will cause an issue with them feeding. Then you're just gonna have to use it in a bottle and you might get your cycles all messed up and your schedule messed up. But if you are using the Haakaa and your baby is able to feed off of one side, so you like feed off of this side and then next feeding you'll feed off of this side, then you should be fine. Basically, at least for me, the Haakaa pretty much makes my body think that it's tandem feeding, so it thinks that I'm feeding a set of twins. So whatever she's getting on this side, like if she drinks 4 ounces from here, the Haakaa might get 4 ounces on the other side, and she doesn't need all of that. So whatever I pump in the Haakaa is mostly going into storage. And if you saw my videos about storage and creating the oversupply and everything like that, you would have seen that I had over 150 ounces of milk in the freezer 7 days after I came home from the hospital, which was awesome. So I've got a ton in storage just from using the Haakaa, and it's keeping up my supply. Before I had the Haakaa, if you had looked at my previous pregnancies, I didn't have enough milk. I was really struggling to keep my supply up. And so now that I've used the Haakaa, I actually have a very decent oversupply. So I don't have to worry about expressing the milk and not having enough for later. But if you are somebody who's had issues with that before, you may just want to be, a little cautious before you go using it. So that brings me to my next topic, is what do I do with whatever's in the Haakaa? So before, I would either have to store it or I would have to put it in a bottle and feed it to her, because she was still working on her latch. So none of my kids have been great at latching. My first two were, my first one ended up being bottle fed because I just totally lost my supply. My second one I exclusively pumped because we couldn't get her to latch. And now she is finally latching, and it's still a work in progress. It is still difficult, but due to that process, she would get really frustrated, and whatever I would get in the Haakaa, I would then give to her in a bottle. And sorry if she's super wiggly. She's really gassy as she's trying to eat, so she's like extra wiggly right now. But anyway, now she gets enough out of one side and the Haakaa gets whatever else is in the other side, and I pretty much just store it all. Usually whatever's in the Haakaa just goes straight into our freezer for later, and we'll use it when we have to. I'm starting to consider donation. Our hospital that we had all 3 of the girls at just started using donor milk for NICU babies and all kinds of great things. And so I'm thinking about possibly signing up to do that, just because I am getting so much extra now that I don't really feel like I need 400 ounces in my freezer. There's just really not a need for that when I'm able to breastfeed her all the time. I'm just worried that all of that's going to go to waste, and your breast milk in a freezer, in a regular like freezer fridge combo, will last for 6 months. If you have a deep freezer, you can leave it in there up to 12 months. Those are the recommended standards, in case anybody's wondering how long you can store this for. And I can't remember exactly how many days in the fridge, 4, 5, 6 days in the fridge. Definitely look it up. Don't go leaving your milk in the fridge for like weeks at a time. And honestly, this is kind of sad, but I've gotten to the point where I get like 4 ounces in the Haakaa overnight, and I'm just so tired and so exhausted that I have such a big oversupply. It's not even worth my effort to get out of bed, walk to the kitchen, dump whatever's in the Haakaa in a bottle, and then put it in my fridge and walk back to my bed. Sometimes I just like use it to get rid of the pressure, and then I just let it sit on my nightstand and it goes bad overnight. Too much. Too much, too much, too much. So if there's times when I know that we're going to be leaving the house for quite a bit of time, I may actually put whatever's in the Haakaa in a bottle and bring it with us. The breast milk is good. That was a good burp. Breast milk is good at room temperature for up to 4 hours. So if I know that we're going to like dinner, we're going out to a restaurant with my parents, or something like that, I will just put it into a bottle and bring it with us. That way I have it in case she gets extra frustrated when we're in public and she doesn't want to latch and I just need to get something for her quickly. I will use it that way, but most of the time it just goes straight into storage. Some other things I've been asked is about how I use this in public, because it is kind of a bizarre thing to be doing, to be like trying to attach a baby to one side of you and trying to attach a silicone pump to the other side of you, and it is very difficult. So sometimes it depends on where I'm at. If I'm at somebody else's house, I'll just use it there. Like, it's not at all weird. But I did try one time when we went out to like a family buffet, and I had her latched to one side and put the Haakaa on the other side, and she was really fussy. So of course people were just angry with me that my baby was crying in the middle of a restaurant. But there were a lot of like older people there as well. And I was getting all the looks from everybody about, just trying to feed her in general. And then like that I had a cover up on, but of course it just looked kind of weird. And so it was kind of awkward to just like have all these people staring at me, like wondering like this plastic thing with milk in it, like what I was holding. And yeah, so with that being said, I usually try to not use it when I'm in public. If I can, I try to just get her to latch and then either deal with the pressure from the other side if I am having that pressure, or I'll let her eat from both sides. So I'll wait until like this side feels like it's at like a manageable, tolerable level, and then I'll switch her to the other side, and I just won't use the Haakaa in public. That's not necessarily the way I want it to go, but it's just easier and more comfortable for me to not use it in public, if that makes sense. Are we all done? I told them that you probably weren't going to eat for very long because you'd already eaten just a little while ago. Are we all done? Let's see, for the Haakaa, all right, I will show you guys what I got in the Haakaa. So I've really only been feeding her for maybe 10-ish minutes or so. And so this is what is in the Haakaa right now. So like I said, I just fed her about an hour ago, so this is still pretty good. That's probably about 2-ish ounces in there right now, so can't complain with that. Are you done eating? You want to show everybody your pretty face? Ready? Oh, you are just too big. You're growing too fast. Say hi. So sweet. Don't you just love babies? Don't you just love babies? And those breastfed ones, they get nice and chunky. Let's show everybody your chunky thighs. Woo! So this is Everly. Hi, you're so sweet. I know you still have to burp, don't you? You still have to burp. Yes, you do. All right, guys. So that is basically how I use it, and some questions about it. So hopefully that's been helpful. It's been kind of a sporadic video, I know. I hope that it can be helpful in some way, but I do want to answer everybody's questions, and I want to be basically like an advocate for you, or whatever. You can do it. I'll be a cheer team if you need help, if you're breastfeeding and you're struggling. I've literally been through it all. I speak at breastfeeding classes at our hospital. I'm going to be assisting a breastfeeding support group that's starting at my hospital. And I do all of that basically because I am the example of somebody who it would be impossible for them to breastfeed. If you ask the nurses and you ask the consultants and everything at our hospital, they would tell you that they look at my chart and I basically have like all of the red flags that are like, this lady is never going to breastfeed ever. And third baby, we finally figured it out. We've got it to work, and I am more than happy to help anybody. All of my contact information is down below. You can leave me a comment. You can send me messages. Send me a message on YouTube, on Instagram. We do have a Facebook page. You can message us on there. If you need any kind of help at all, feel free to contact us, and I will help you out in any way that I can. We love to help, don't we? Oh, and you're so gassy. You're so gassy. Oh my goodness. All right, we'll put you back in your Mamaroo and see how it helps. Next video to come up, Mamaroo. Yeah, we just bought a Mamaroo, so I will be letting you guys know how we like the Mamaroo, right? We'll do a whole big video on the Mamaroo, won't we? Yes, we will. Okay. Can you say bye to everybody? Say bye-bye. Bye guys.